Livestream, Woodstream, welcome to a new week of weekly devotions. We're so glad to have you on today. Well, all of us are familiar with Mel Gibson's renowned movie, The Passion of the Christ. But what we have in the Gospel according to John chapter 21 is something a little bit different. Perhaps you're not familiar with it. We can refer to it as the Passion of Simon Peter. Let's listen to God's Word. The Gospel according to John, chapter 21, verse 18 and 19. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were younger, you used to gird yourself and walk wherever you wished. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will gird you and bring you where you do not wish to go. Now this he says, signifying by what kind of death he would glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he said to him, Follow me. Well, we know perfectly well that the Lord smite the shepherd and the sheep shall scatter, and that, of course, when Christ was arrested, the disciples forsook him. They scattered, and that was the commandment. But Peter continued to follow the Lord, and of course, when Christ was interrogated, Peter would eventually deny the Lord 3 times, and the Lord would restore him here in John chapter 21, back to his apostleship. But as he's restoring him back to his apostleship after his failure, he's also prophesying to Peter, Peter, you're going to be crucified. The passion of Christ just days before, if you would, but now the passion of Peter is being prophesied. And you say, wow, that's very strong, straight talk. It doesn't seem as though Jesus is being too compassionate towards Peter. And what about me? What will be my fate as a Christian? Well, in some ways, our fate is the same as Simon Peter, and there's really nothing to fear. Well, you say that's just spiritual talk. No, listen carefully. You see, the more we live for Christ, the more we die to this world. Living is dying. And when a Christian is living for Christ, if you would, you and I can experience sufferings. Christ offered up his sufferings to the Father on the cross. When we experience sufferings, we're to offer up our sufferings to Christ, who died on the cross for us. You see, our sufferings are to be joined to his suffering, that we enter into the fellowship of sufferings. You see, the word passion, we immediately think of the crucifixion, and rightfully so. But the word passion really means love. The love of Christ was demonstrated towards us through his death, his willingness to die for me and to die for you. And he wants us to live so much for him that we die to this world. Well, not only do we offer up our sufferings to Christ, if you would, but we offer up our love to Jesus Christ. You see, Simon Peter, it is prophesied that when you were young, you would gird yourself and go wherever you chose to. But when you're old, someone else will gird you and take you where you don't want to go. You see, there's certain kinds of martyrdom. There is white martyrdom. That means that we die daily to sin in our lives. But then there's red martyrdom. That's when a Christian dies for their faith in Jesus Christ. All of us, hopefully, are experiencing white martyrdom, that we die to sin in our life, and if called upon, God give us the strength to endure red martyrdom, that we give our lives for Jesus Christ. You see, whether we live or whether we die, we are Christ. And whether we live or whether we die, we offer up everything to the Lord. Our joys, but also our sorrows, our happiness, but also our tears. the passion of Christ, the passion of Peter. May I ask you a question? How passionate are you today? God bless you.